Commanders fans, what's going on? Our team is working every single day to get sharper, tougher, and more prepared for what's coming. That's what this new era under Dan Quinn and Adam Peters is all about. Constant improvement, no excuses, and no shortcuts. And here at Commanders HQ, we're doing the same thing, working to bring you the very best coverage of your team. So before we dive into today's huge story about Terry McLaurin, the Falcons matchup, and how this team is building confidence on all three phases, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button to support the channel, and if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a beat on your Washington Commanders. The big headline right now, Terry McLaurin will not be on the field this Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. He's dealing with a quad injury that has officially ruled him out for Week 4. And honestly, this might not be a one-week thing. Head coach Dan Quinn confirmed it when he spoke with the media, saying McLaurin is week to week as the team monitors his recovery. Quinn explained it clearly. This is not something you rush. He praised McLaurin for working as hard as he possibly can to get back, but at the end of the day, it's about being smart. Anyone who has followed Terry's career knows he's the heart and soul of this franchise. He's the leader of that wide receiver room, the guy who's been producing year in and year out, no matter who's throwing the football. Losing him, even for a few weeks, is a big blow. Now, here's where it gets interesting. With Terry sidelined, Deebo Samuel instantly takes over as the number one wideout. That's exactly why Washington went out and got him this offseason. This is the kind of situation where you need a proven playmaker who can shoulder the load, and Deebo is tailor-made for that challenge. But it won't just be Deebo. Dan Quinn pointed to rookie Jalen Lane, second-year receiver Luke McCaffrey, and veteran Chris Moore as guys who are going to be leaned on heavily. And Quinn's message to them was simple. You don't have to do things differently. Just go run this system. Be you fully turned up. That's an important line because it shows the trust this coaching staff has in their system. It's not about reinventing the wheel because Terry is down. It's about plugging in the guys who have been working all offseason, all preseason, and letting them step up in their roles. So, the question becomes, can this group actually deliver without Terry McLaurin? Let's think back just 1 week. Jaden Daniels was out. Austin Eckler, gone for the season. And everyone around the league was saying, how in the world are the Commanders going to respond? Well, the answer came in a big way against the Las Vegas Raiders. Washington played what might have been their most complete game of the year, maybe even their best performance in years, dominating all three phases on the way to a 41-24 victory. With Marcus Mariota filling in at quarterback, the offense didn't just survive, it thrived. Mariota ran the show with confidence, poise, and efficiency. And because his playing style mirrors Jaden Daniels, the playbook didn't have to be torn apart. Washington stayed true to who they are, and the results spoke for themselves. The run game exploded. Jeremy McNichols ripped off 78 yards and a touchdown. Mariota himself added 40 on the ground plus another score. And rookie Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, who just keeps making a name for himself, punched in the dagger with a late touchdown to seal it. That kind of balance in the backfield, that's exactly how you protect your offensive line and keep defenses guessing. And here's where it gets even better. The defense matched that intensity step for step. Bobby Wagner looked like the Bobby Wagner of old, racking up 11 tackles and 2 sacks. Frankie Louvu was flying around with 7 tackles of his own. The Commanders' pass rush overwhelmed the Raiders, sacking Geno Smith 5 times and holding the run game under 100 yards. Geno Smith is a 13-year veteran. He's seen it all. And yet he looked uncomfortable all day long, rattled by the speed and physicality of this Washington defense. That's the kind of defensive identity that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. are building. And then don't forget about special teams. Rookie Jalen Lane delivered a jaw-dropping 90-yard punt return touchdown in the third quarter. That's a game-changing play, and it's exactly what this coaching staff has been preaching, winning on all three phases. Now, Heading into Sunday's matchup with Atlanta, the Commanders are once again going to be without their starting quarterback and their top wide receiver. For some teams, that's a recipe for disaster. But this Commander squad has already proven they can thrive with a next man up mentality. Mariota is back under center. He'll face his former team, which always adds some extra spice. You better believe he's going to want to put on a show inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And with Deebo Samuel stepping into that #1 receiver role, Washington still has a dangerous weapon who can create mismatches all over the field. Then you add in Luke McCaffrey, who's been working nonstop to carve out a role. You add Jalen Lane, who just electrified the fan base with that punt return touchdown. And you add Chris Moore, a savvy veteran who knows how to get open and move the chains. It's not Terry McLaurin, but it's not a group without answers either. The real key is balance. If the running backs can replicate what they did last week, if Krosky Merritt, McNichols, and even Mariota can keep the ground game flowing, the pressure comes off the receivers. It allows the offense to dictate pace instead of forcing Mariota into a shootout with the Falcons. On defense, Washington has to keep doing what it did against the Raiders: stop the run, pressure the quarterback, and force Atlanta into uncomfortable situations. If Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu keep flying around, if the pass rush keeps bringing heat, this defense can carry the load until McLaurin and Daniels are back. Here's the bottom line, Commanders fans. This team is showing resilience we haven't seen in years. Think about it. Your rookie quarterback is sidelined. Your star running back is gone. Your wide receiver 1 is now out, and yet you're still winning football games by playing dominant, complementary football. That's the difference between the old Washington teams and the Dan Quinn era. This roster has depth. It has belief. It has an identity. And when you've got leaders like Bobby Wagner, Deebo Samuel, and yes, even Mariota stepping in and setting the tone, you start to feel like this is a team that's built for the long haul. Of course, losing Terry McLaurin stings. There's no sugarcoating that. But if this receiver room answers the bell, if the defense continues to play lights out, and if special teams keeps finding ways to swing momentum, the Commanders can survive this stretch and even build confidence heading into the tougher part of the season. The Washington Commanders are being tested early. Week 4 hasn't even kicked off yet, and injuries have already forced this team to dig deep into the roster. 6 players are on this week's injury report, and Dan Quinn has been clear. This is not just a possibility, it's a certainty. Every team in the NFL will get hit with injuries. The question is, do you have the depth to handle it?
Coach Quinn explained it perfectly. He doesn't talk to the team about depth as maybe. He prepares them for it as when. Who knows what position it's going to be? Running back, tight end, wide receiver, cornerback, it doesn't matter. If your number is called, you step up. That's your job. And what makes this Commander staff so effective is how they use that depth. Quinn praised both Cliff Kingsbury and Joe Witt Jr. for tailoring their play calling to fit the strengths of the guys on the field. This isn't about just running the same plays with different faces. It's about designing around what your players do best. That's why we saw the offense light up the Raiders last week, even with backups leading the charge. That's why this defense keeps delivering, no matter who is in the lineup. Through 3 weeks, the Commanders are sitting at 2-1, and that record should tell you everything about how this depth is contributing. After last week's dominant 41-24 win over Las Vegas, there's no doubt the Commanders are proving they can survive adversity. But now comes the next challenge, the Atlanta Falcons. And fans, this is no team to take lightly. On paper, Atlanta hasn't had the hottest start, but they've got weapons, especially Drake London, their big-bodied wide receiver who can flip a game on its head if he gets going. Standing at 6'4", 215 pounds, London is the kind of contested catch monster that keeps defensive coordinators awake at night. And guess what? Washington's secondary is banged up. We've already lost Will Harris for the season. Jonathan Jones is on injured reserve. That means Joe Witt Jr. is going to have to get creative with coverage. The Commanders still have talent out there. Rookie Trey Amos, who's been fantastic so far. Second-year man Mike Sinerstroll, who's versatile and physical. And veteran Marshawn Lattimore, who is still finding his groove in burgundy and gold. But let's be honest, London is a problem. And the Falcons don't stop there. They've got Darnell Mooney, a sneaky deep threat who can stretch the field. And of course, Kyle Pitts Sr., the Joker-style tight end who can line up anywhere and create mismatches. Atlanta's receiving core is a lot more dangerous than their numbers suggest. So how do the Commanders contain London? Well, it starts with numbers. Witt Jr. and the defensive staff can't leave him in single coverage all game. The smart move is to bracket him. That means using Lattimore underneath, pressing him at the line, with a safety over the top. Force Falcons rookie quarterback Michael Penix Jr. to look elsewhere. We all remember what happened in Week 27 last year. London torched Washington for 106 yards on 7 catches. That can't happen again. If Penix gets comfortable throwing to his safety blanket, it's going to be a long afternoon. And this is where depth comes back into play. Trey Amos has the length and confidence to handle Mooney, freeing up the defense to double London. And Washington has flexible pieces like Percy Butler and Tyler Owens who can rotate onto Kyle Pitts. That versatility is huge because it lets the Commanders stay aggressive without leaving glaring holes elsewhere. Yes, bracketing London puts a lot of responsibility on Lattimore to play physical and disciplined, but if he can rise to that challenge, and I believe he can, it could completely disrupt Atlanta's passing game. Of course, while we're talking about London, we can't forget about Bijan Robinson. He's Atlanta's superstar running back, and if the Commanders sell out too hard to stop the pass, Bijan can take over on the ground. That's why guys like Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu are so crucial. They have to keep the middle locked down, prevent those big chunk runs, and make sure Penix doesn't get easy play action opportunities. The formula is clear. Stop the run, double London, pressure Penix. Do those 3 things, and you take away Atlanta's comfort zone. Now, Commanders fans, I know some of you are nervous about the injuries piling up. No Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels still out, Austin Eckler done for the year. It feels like we've been hit with setback after setback. But here's why you should still feel confident. This team is showing something we haven't seen in years: depth and resilience. Think about last week. No Daniels, no McLaurin, no problem. Marcus Mariota stepped in and looked smooth. Jeremy McNichols, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and even Mariota himself powered the run game. Jalen Lane broke a punt return wide open. The defense smothered a veteran quarterback. That's what depth looks like. That's what culture looks like. This isn't just about talent. It's about mentality. Dan Quinn has drilled into this roster the idea that you prepare for adversity as a certainty. And because of that, when the injuries came, this team didn't panic. They executed. They dominated. So now I've got to ask you, Commanders Nation, how confident are you in this wide receiver group without Terry McLaurin? Do you believe Deebo Samuel can carry the wide receiver 1 load? Do you believe Luke McCaffrey or Jalen Lane can step up in a big way? And what's your confidence level in Marcus Mariota leading this offense on the road against Atlanta? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from every single one of you. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, do me that quick favor. Smash the like button to help spread this video to more Commanders fans. And of course, subscribe to Commanders HQ so you're always in the loop on the latest news, rumors, and insider analysis. The road to building a contender isn't easy, but this Commanders team is proving it has the toughness, depth, and culture to handle adversity. Now it's time to see if they can do it again on Sunday against the Falcons. Until next time, this is Commanders HQ. Thanks for watching, and let's keep this energy rolling.